I don't think having a preference is racist. Coming from like a Filipino like background and family, like we only date like Filipinos or like marry like a white man or a white girl. For me, I don't think that that's a bad thing. If you can like who you like, I think when you're prejudiced and when your stereotypes get in the way of you falling for someone or you being even attracted to someone, I think that could be so toxic. Because if we talk about like love, like pure love, like love down to its core, it should transcend over the color of someone's skin or their sexuality or what they look like or how they dress. And I think that once you let that prejudice get in the way, that's kind of where it gets a little like, man, you're missing out on so much, you know?
You know, I have like a really interesting view on this because in my personal opinion, I think there should be no preferences at all. I'm a mixed kid. My parents are a mixed couple. My grandparents are a mixed couple. I'm dating someone who's outside of my race. So in my life, everything is mixed. And I've dated people inside of my race, outside of my race. Everyone in my family has as well. But the thing that we've never done is we've never had a preference. Like I've never been like, oh, I like blonde hair, I like blue eyes, or I like whatever skin color or this or that. I don't know. I just feel like the whole idea of having a preference automatically puts you against maybe looking for something different and looking for someone else or something unique in a person.
Like, I ain't got no type. Lovely women are the only thing that I like. So over here with hashtag my side. No, because I'm looking at Alex. She says, I think that if you grew up in a community full of interracial couples, it would impact your decision. And clearly over here, I mean, you have all those mixed race couples in your relationship. And we're from Toronto. I mean, we're from like a super multicultural city. You can't avoid interracial dating. I've had interracial relationships. You?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think even that also kind of shaped my preference is because I've had like experiences with dating different outside of my race and within my race. And me, like I grew up around a predominantly like black community, Hispanic community, and that's kind of what I've been known to be comfortable with. Like I'm around, like those are my people. So when I say that, a lot of people say, oh, like, oh, you only date black girls, you only date like Hispanic girls. For me, it's just like that's from my experience, and that's what I feel comfortable with.
And I feel like,
Frank, I'm very interested to hear what you say because you've come from a very traditional Chinese background, I understand.
Yeah, so I personally don't have any preferences, but I do think my parents and let's say my relatives, they kind of do expect me to, let's say, date an Asian girl or marry an Asian girl. And I think it's a built-in cultural bias in terms of you should be dating your own race and you should be having kids with people in your own race. I think it's more of a parental pressure in terms of like, that's a consideration that I'd put on myself.
I want to throw out a big question. Why do you guys think there's so few interracial couples? Because 4.6% of the Canadian population is really wild for there to be so few.
I think a big part of it is because of number one, just there's so many small towns and stuff like that. You don't have this opportunity to grow up around them and you think they're different. But a lot of it is as an immigrant. And I mean, I'm lucky enough my parents have never pressured me. But I feel for someone like Frank, where it's like you're sort of afraid where even if you're interested with someone and getting married later on.
I'm not exactly sure my parents are pressuring me, but I'm saying that's the general, I guess, Asian culture. I'm not going to generalize the Chinese community.
Totally an Asian culture thing. Like I think back, or even just like on that whatever that like Asia, it's a big thing where most families they want to date someone who's of lighter skin, and when you date someone who's darker, it's kind of just like, well, what are you doing? And it goes back to like if you look in history where colonization happened, where the people who were richer stayed inside, so they didn't have the sun on their skin. So if you were darker, you were looked at as poor, and that kind of just generationally just built down onto you know how we live life now.